All right. Very good morning to all members who have been in position to join today's session. My name is George Emorut, and I want to welcome all of you. I want to thank you. I want to appreciate you so much for yet again ensuring that you are logged on and you are on the call. As we said yesterday, today we are going to be our lead facilitator, Mr. Dennis Wagisha, is going to lead us today. He's going to guide us. He's going to give us a comprehensive guide on how best you can put together all the technologies that we have learned. And he's going to guide us how we can put all that together in order for you to begin up an e-learning project as a teacher or as a school. So without wasting time, I would like to welcome someone, a participant who can lead us with an opening prayer. This time around, these days, people don't want to raise their hands up. So I'm going to do my usual trick. I'm just going to appoint. Okay. Today I have people. So let's have a prayer from a lady, Madame Christine. Madame Christine, unmute and you lead us with an opening prayer.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, let us humble ourselves and we pray. Kind loving Father, we want to thank you for this morning. We want to thank you for protecting us during the night. We want to thank you for the gift of each one of us. And Father, as we begin our session this morning, we put our lives into your hands. We can request you to give us your wisdom, understanding, and we need to understand the knowledge that is being imparted in us. Father, help us to understand it fully so that we might transfer it to the needy people, to the people who want it, and to benefit ourselves. We pray for our facilitators, strengthen them, give them the courage to always do what they are doing for the good of your people. And we pray for each one of us be blessed. In Jesus' name we have prayed.
Amen. Thank you so much, Madame Christine, for that wonderful prayer. I'm sure our session has been handed over to the hands of the Almighty, who is going to guide us through. So just a reminder, this training is fully organized and funded by Edify Uganda, which is an NGO, an international NGO operating in around 11 countries. And we are blessed that even here in Uganda, it is operating. So it's a Christian-founded NGO which works with Christian-founded schools. So I'm sure most of you must be from partner schools. We promise that we are going to organize a special session for teachers who are from schools which are not yet partner schools. There are a variety of benefits that a school gets by just being a partner school with Edify. One of the privileges are you get to attend trainings of this kind at a free cost. There are also leadership-based trainings, and then the school also gets another privilege of accessing very low interest loans, which can enable the school to be able to set up maybe to set up an infrastructure. Maybe if a school wants to establish a computer laboratory but is lacking funds, the school can always reach out to Edify. And the Edify, of course, works with different partners. A school can be able to access a loan through Edify. So those are just some of the some of the privileges a school gets by just being a partner with Edify. So this particular training is organized by Edify Uganda, and it is coordinated by the Christian Schools Owners Association. And then the training is being implemented by the training partner, which is the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda, where I belong as a member. So, yes, please.
Yes, on the issue of Edify, we have a form we are going to be sharing with the members in WhatsApp, but also we shall talk about it in an evening session. We shall also actually organize another extra Zoom session to mainly talk about how a school becomes a partner school and how they can apply and how they can benefit. Yeah, so we have a form, and members who are interested, please you reach out to us. You can also share it with your school directors so that they can apply. It's not only online trainings, even physical trainings. When schools open, Edify normally sends us to schools to train teachers physically in the staff room, in their computer lab. So that is something, and you get free training, you get loans, you get many other things that you can get. Okay, Mr. Mbal, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Roger, for that supplement. So today we want to welcome Mr. Wogisha Dennis, who is going to guide us, because I'm sure most of us might be asking ourselves, after learning all these technologies, after learning Google Classroom, WhatsApp, but really, what does it take? How do we get started? How do we kickstart our own e-learning project as a school? So all those questions are going to be answered today. Mr. Wogisha, our lead facilitator, is going to guide us properly, systematically, how you can kickstart with your own e-learning project as a school or as an individual teacher. So I don't want to waste much time. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our lead facilitator of the day, and that is Mr. Wogisha Dennis. Mr. Wogisha.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Emrut. Thank you, Mr. Mukarere, for those remarks. Thank you, Madam Christine, for the opening prayer. I'm very humbled to really take you through this summary as we wrap up our training. And that said, allow me share my screen. I'll be switching off my video because of the lighting. The lighting in my room is not fine. The room I always use is not this one I'm using. So later on the presentation, I'll turn off my video and we shall get through the other screen. We shall be sharing the screen and doing some other demonstration. So I'm sharing my screen like earlier on said. All right. Now I want to again appreciate brother George George. He has already given the preamble. This training is brought to us by 3 associations: Edify Uganda, Christian School Owners Association, and ICT Teachers. We are very grateful. I am Wogisha Dennis Kruger. Those are my names. My email is wogisha95@gmail.com, and that's my number. I am privileged to take you through the final bit, having learned the Zoom, having learned how to create slides, having learned how to create Google classes, having learned how to create WhatsApp group. How do we integrate all those skills into one perhaps entity and thus implement our e-learning? So I'll be sharing with you that. Now, about me, probably a person can ask, who is Wogisha Dennis Kruger? I am an ICT teacher, professional ICT teacher. I am a computer technician. I repair computers and other computer-related systems. I am a web designer, and I work for Christ. I'm a senior youth leader. So in church, I'm empowered to leading the youth into the light of Jesus Christ, to supporting them work and live as living ambassadors and as young adults. And I'm the marketing director of eZone Web Services with 9 websites. And currently we have a promotion that is going on with Edify and Itau. We designed for a school a complete website at 300,000 shillings, only with domain and designed together with hosting inclusive. Now, this training is implemented by Itau, and I am the regional chairperson of the ICT Teachers Association, the Eastern region. So I'm talking to you from the perspective of experience. Now, maybe before I get any further, allow me make some few remarks. As far as Edify e-classes are concerned, I am an e-class administrator. So I'm going to share with you, not theory, but I'll be sharing experience. How have we managed to connect the dots to have had a very effective implementation of these e-classes? So I just ask you to be very, very, very observant. We shall be taking very few minutes on slide, but I also have some time to show you practically these things. I hope to use at most 25 minutes to 30, 25, so that we have other time to interact with them. So I also want to appreciate my team, my colleagues who have led us through the week, from the lead facilitator and our supervisor, Mr. Mukarere Rogers, to Henry, Mr. Sechito, and others, Mr. Ogwal, Mr. Emrut, Mr. Dumba, Mr. Mukisa. Thank you very much for leading us through the week. Now, participants, these videos have always been streamed. I want to appeal to you to visit YouTube. In this presentation, I'll be sharing with you as a material under the Google Classroom. You'll find a link. You just tap the link and it will take you to the playlist all the videos are. But you can also logically go to YouTube and type Christian School Owners Association and then get access to all these presentations. So thank you, comrades, for setting a very solid foundation. And I will just come and share a few perhaps things as we connect the dots. Like earlier on said, I've switched off my camera just because of the lighting. Okay, now through this session, in the interest of time, we shall be guided by these questions, probably having learned what e-learning is, having looked at various tools, we shall probably find out why e-learning, why the call, why did the teachers call you and ask you to be part of this session? What is the main target of you being part of this session? And then we shall also be guided with the question of what do I need to get started? What is my role as a teacher? Some we shall be theorizing theoretically, but then in the evening session, we shall have some very resourceful persons to share the live experience of how they have really managed as teachers and as supervisors or as administrators. And finally, I share the process of how to get started with e-learning. So those are part of the session questions that should guide this presentation. Now, perhaps I will start with the earlier one. Why e-learning? Because if I may ask, just in the interest of time, within 1 second, the teachers on call, I would ask perhaps any, Madam Dina Grace, I've asked you to unmute. Madam Dina Grace, could you unmute, please? Madam Dina, I've asked you to unmute. All right. Good morning, Madam.
Hello, I already unmuted.
Now, if a person asks you what e-learning is or online learning, what would you tell them? What is e-learning or online learning, comrade? In your opinion. Hello? The network wasn't right, but I will have one person, perhaps, let me ask for gender balance. Teacher Deo, I've asked you to unmute. Teacher Deo. Leo. Okay, thank you.
Yes, hello.
Good morning. Like I earlier on said, what is e-learning or online learning, in your opinion?
Okay, e-learning simply can mean the digital using gadgets to pass on lessons to learners.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
very much, teacher. Thank you. Now, like he said, e-learning entirely could refer to an umbrella that describes the use of computers, use of computer-related equipment to deliver learning or to deliver lessons. Now, why e-learning? Probably, of course, you're aware. Apparently, there's a prevailing COVID-19 lockdown attributed from COVID-19 infection, and all schools have stayed closed for over 2 years with very, very, very stringent, tough, I would say, guidelines. So, why e-learning? We think it is to help us promote learning during this ongoing lockdown. And we hope it is to help engage and equip our learners with skills and knowledge. And we also hope that e-learning is to help revive learners into a learning mood. You are aware the president officially communicated the date in which schools will open. But prior to the reopening, the learners have to be revived, have to be really prepared. So the schools and other institutions that will have organized e-learning will provide their learners an opportunity of reviewing various study materials in preparation for that physical opening. So probably, among others, those are some of the reasons. The list is endless, but those are some of the reasons why e-learning is very essential. Now, I would have to tell you before we get started and I summarize with you the practical process of e-learning, we first reflect on some questions. Of course, there are schools that have already embraced this project. There are schools that have already started e-learning, and there are ways. There are ways in which they are doing it. I thought we'd have a short interaction briefly before we'd go any further. And looking at time right now, it is 22 minutes after 8. That suggests we have close to 30 minutes to end. Let me choose about 3 participants, to interact with them freely. And I know if we meet in the evening, we would have enough time to internalize and discuss like we always do in split sessions. Now, participants, I would ask a question. If you have a comment, you put up your hand. We are going to use at most 4 minutes to interact freely, and then we get started. Are there schools you know in your community that have embraced e-learning? At least give me 2. If you know of any school or any other organizational project that has, I have Teacher Hillary. Teacher Hillary, I've asked you to unmute. Teacher Gava.
Can you hear me?
Please, I hear you.
Okay. So for me, I am the teacher at URDT Girls School Kagadi, and we are one of the schools that have embraced e-learning, not only in this season of pandemic, but even before we had started it.
Oh, okay. How are you engaging the parents? How are you teaching? How are you conducting the e-learning? How are you engaging the learners?
Now, we bought the tablets, all the learners, right away from primary 5 to senior 6. And now, we are sending them the lesson videos via WhatsApp, Google Classroom, and even using our school enterprise resource planning program. That is how we are doing it majorly.
Thank you for sharing. I'm very humbled, Teacher Agava.
Can
I have, all right, can I have another person? Perhaps you can put up your hand. I'm looking at the list here. Okay, thank you. I have, okay. Can I have another participant who would love to share? Okay, let me take this chance to Teacher Grace. Teacher Grace, I've asked you to unmute. Teacher Grace?
Yes, please.
Hey, are there schools you've had that have started e-learning?
So far for us in Kanu, we have not yet surely.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Our
Mr. Wagisha, there is Mr. Justus Rubangira.
Thank you, comrade. I've asked him to unmute. Comrade Justus, can you unmute?
Yeah.
Okay. To the question, are there schools you know that have started e-learning, and how are they doing it?
Yeah, actually, I'm also from URDT Girls School. And we also started e-learning. Yeah, we have been making videos with Viduma and slides, and we make videos with Viduma, and we're uploading them on YouTube so that our learners can access them.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Justus, for really sharing that testimony. So, colleagues, the story is real. We can implement this, like you've heard from Teacher Justus and Comrade Agaba. Possibly, it is very practical. Now, let me have also my colleague. He has put up his hand to make a very comment. Mr. Mukarele Rogers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wagisha. Yeah, I just wanted to share something about the schools which are really embracing e-learning. And one of the schools, one of the members actually yesterday, I'm going to share something here, and then you share again your screen. There's a colleague who came in the WhatsApp group, and he shared. This was a very interesting message. Mr. Daniel Waninda from Nagongera Girls Primary School, and he was saying he was thanking Edify Itau. They attended cohort 2 of this training, and they have initiated their e-learning program for the school, and they are conducting online lessons. Mr. Daniel went ahead and trained his fellow teachers on various tools. After learning here, he did not just sit down, he went and helped and taught other teachers within the school. And now they are conducting online lessons, which started on 11th October. And it has attracted a good number of learners. And they even, during cohort 2, they also got a chance to learn about creating websites using Google Sites, which is also one of the tools. And I would encourage teachers here to also try it out. So he created a simple website himself for his school, and they are going to be fully hosting it. So with the digital skills that we are learning, we should be able to do this. And you people are now resource people. You can now start doing the trainings yourselves and even get some money from trainings. Go out there, learn these things better, and package yourself, and and then you start training, publicize your work. You're going to start getting some money from even conducting trainings and also inspiring other schools. We have many other schools. We are going to be actually sharing partner schools under Edify, which have started, which have been reporting to us. We have over 20 schools that have started, and in addition to the other schools which were there at first. So, members, this is something that we can do. That's what I wanted to supplement there, Mr. Ogisha.
You're welcome. Thank you, and our lead facilitator, for that like testimony. Now, friends, our participants, the story is very practical. We would want you to go back and be very powerful people in your school and then in your community. Now, allow me now get to a summary of how we can possibly implement, having revived and having heard from colleagues and having know that it is practical. How then can we implement this? How do we connect all the dots into one? Now, there are some things we shall need. The very other question that you can start thinking about is, what do I need to start e-learning? Of course, at the very background or at grassroots, for you to implement this, you'll need an audience. I'll be expounding later who your audience is, but just in a nutshell, by audience, I mean the target group. Are you targeting a primary school? Are you targeting secondary school, a tertiary institution? What are their skills? What are their weaknesses as far as learners are concerned? So an audience is a very big component you need to look at during your planning process. Then the other thing are tools. We shall perhaps expound it in a few minutes. And then we need a learning management system where you are going to implement the lessons. We shall expound that later. Perhaps in a nutshell, by learning management system, I mean the software you are going to use to deliver the lessons, to implement what you have planned as far as delivery is concerned. Then, of course, you need teachers as implementers. You need administrators directly to supervise the teachers technically as far as IT is concerned, and also other like overall administrators like director of studies, the class supervisors, and so on. And then, of course, you need a reliable internet connection. So the five are very powerful equipments or components you need to note down as we continue. So practically, you see that, like I said, I am sharing experience. I'm not sharing theory. I am an admin in the e-classes under Edify. So this screenshot was taken at the end of the lesson, and the learners were saying bye to their teacher. So the learning management system in this picture is Zoom, and like I will expound later the tips how you can manage effectively. The fact that we have already had a complete session on how to use it from our facilitator. Like I also said, we need teachers. Teachers are very, very key in implementing this process. Now, like we shall see, there is need for induction, there is need for empowerment. Like we are inducting you, we have empowered you to be an ambassador to go back and also empower other teachers. Now, you can also look at this one. The other people, I only managed to show you two pictures, but you can put in mind that you need the five components. Like I said, we need audience, tools, learning management system, teachers, administrators, and internet. Now, before we get any further, let us also summarize briefly the roles of different people who are very important in this process. We have school owners. Now, you're not going to come there directly as a teacher and communicate, invite the parents to come and be part of this. We expect the protocol of communication that the school owners are the ones to communicate the parents and the learners to enroll, since you are employed and you work under them or directly under their supervision. And we expect the school owners to identify and recruit teachers, very competent teachers they would love to participate with, among others. Those are some of the roles of the school owners. Then the teachers who are the implementers, you, my colleagues that have been part of this session, there are colleagues who are directors. That's why I had to share that. But you as a teacher, you'll need to prepare the lesson slides. This e-learning involves use of different methods. But even if you're going to teach directly on chalkboard, you need to write down each of the process or the steps you're going to take in a complete presentation, and that should be shared later. So your role is to prepare this lesson slides and scheme of work, and your role is to deliver the lesson. After delivering the lesson, your role is to assess the learners, perhaps evaluate their performance as far as you taught them. And in every lesson, your role will be to guide learners to use technology. How are they going to use various technology to write your assignment? How are they going to attend your lessons, and so on? Now, the parents, amongst you, some of you are parents. The few roles I noted down that are very, very important to them is to enroll learners into a program. Just as you will take a decision as a teacher to offer some service, a parent also has to take some decision to enroll a parent. Now, this decision comes with the commitment. In the e-classes where I am working apparently as an admin, I work directly in the nursery section, that is nursery and lower primary and P1. We call it lower primary. The learners at that very stage or in that level are not very fully independent. So the parents usually help supervise the learners, like I will share with you how they do it. But as the parents, you also need to provide internet and perhaps surrender or render your device to the learner during that very time. And of course, you'll have to support the program sustainability. Apparently, the lessons are supported by Edify, but you as a teacher for a given school or as a director for a given school, you need to at least interest parents to pay some money so that they can fully support you to provide data and other costs that are very important in the implementation. And lastly, of course, the learners as stakeholders, their role is to attend lessons as scheduled, the timetable. Their role is to attempt and submit exercises and then utilize digital content that you have created for self-study. Since you're not going to engage them face-to-face, you'll be preparing materials, so they have to utilize those digital content or digital materials for self-study. So in those 4 slides, I have summarized theoretically the roles of teachers, the roles of parents, the roles of learners, and the role of school owners. Now, to get practical, we need to also try to perhaps interact freely about the tools we need. We looked at components. Among the components, there were audience. We have looked at the audience and their roles. We have looked at, we're now looking at tools as the second component, which is very key. Now, these tools can be physical and others can be software, like we are going to see. But among the physical tools, just as I would ask a question, how have you been attending the lessons? If I ask the participants here, some will say they have been using phones, others have been using laptops, and those who use laptops need a modem. Those who have smartphone have always used internet provided by the service provider through their SIM card. And perhaps you also need headsets to have very good sound. So if you're thinking about starting, these are some of the components you may need to have a very reliable class. But like I said, some tools may not be physical. So let us also take some time to share very other tools we may need for lesson delivery. So the real process of having a complete e-learning will have lesson delivery, we'll have lesson assessment, and then we will need to communicate. So the tools are grouped under these categories. We need some tools to deliver our lessons. We need some tools to assess the learners, and then we need some tools to communicate to them. So if you look at the 3, I would hope communication is the very start. Before you teach, before you assess, you need to communicate. So what are you going to use to communicate? Thanks to our facilitators, they taught us how to use WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is a very good form of communication at an initial stage because you communicate by creating a group and send messages. So practically, there was a demonstration. And if I can just show you here, I can show you here in my browser, as e-classes, we created very many groups. For instance, I can just show you here. I'm going to type in baby class. I'm going to type baby class. I hope you can see my screen. So I have baby class. In this group, I communicate to the parents as a class admin about everything. I can just zoom this a little bit. You can see. So this is the group we created, and we put messages, whatever we want, to our learners, to our parents, so that they can really be part of the lesson. So let me continue. So we need WhatsApp group for communication. We need Google Classroom. Still, I'll be showing you later there how we can, I will be sharing tips. I'm looking at the clock. I have about more 10 minutes. So I'll be summarizing in those few minutes. So Google Classroom is very important. School websites. We are not saying you need a school website to start, but then if it is available, make good use of it. We are implementing these lessons under the umbrella of Christian Schools Owners Association as far as our e-classes are concerned. And on our website, on this website of Christian School Owners Association, we created a page called Join e-class. And on this page, like you can see, we provide the timetable, the parents, there are Zoom links to the parents, there are WhatsApp groups. So this web page is helping us communicate to the parents about the program and giving them the very key information instead of them calling us. Now, why I'm giving these alternatives? I don't want us to be technologically dependent. Recently, WhatsApp and Facebook was off for some good hours, and the parents or the stakeholders who had to communicate very key message to their partners could not use those platforms. So as a school, as a teacher, you need to marry use of very many methods of communication, just in case one of them gets off, or just in case you cannot tap in the use by some, you have to make use of the other. We also have mailing lists as a way of communication. Now, since you've been looking at how to use them, I just want to share experience on how we can use them briefly. For WhatsApp, I would recommend that after you've added the participants, you make all the teachers group admins. If I can show you, for instance, here in our group of WhatsApp, I click here and I go to group info. If I go to group info to show you, there are many admins. I am an admin in that group. Madam Robin, who is a teacher, is an admin. Mr. Wamon is an admin, and lots of teachers. Do not manage the group as one person. Why? At one moment, you'll need to communicate. At one moment, you'll need to, you may be off, and the other colleague may lock the group in case of anything, may add the participants and other roles that admins can do. The other very important tip I want to share under WhatsApp group is use the WhatsApp group. Do not file learners about the lesson. Do not take an assumption that they know they have the timetable. Please kindly share with them. Like I earlier on said in this demonstration in the group, for every lesson I have to send a message just to show you. For yesterday, for instance, I put a comment. I put, coming up, good morning parents, join in a lesson, and I give them the link, I give them the ID. So that at least a person who had forgotten may take the privilege of knowing. There are people who may know, but there are very many links and they get confused there. Share also links to members to join the Google Classroom, share YouTube video links. Like you all know, learning management systems are very many. You may choose Zoom, for instance, to teach, but then later on, after you have taught, there are some less learners who may have missed or who may have had challenges of network. So we recommend that you have videos shared on YouTube. But even when you have uploaded those videos, use WhatsApp group to share the links to invite the participants to read the videos. Now, let us go to the tools for lesson delivery in the interest of time. Now, we have looked at creating slides. Mr. Sechito Henry took us through how to create slides. And I'll be giving some very important tips concerned about this. And I'll also give a tip concerning Zoom, and I also give a tip concerning video as the tools, rather concerning YouTube as key tools we use for lesson delivery. So let's begin with the PowerPoint. Like teachers, you'll have to deliver the lessons. And I told you, your role is to prepare slides. But then I want to encourage you to prepare slides in time. And after you've prepared the slides in time, kindly share the slides with your class administrators or supervisors. Why? On call, there are very many circumstances that may make you go off. If, for instance, you went off, if I went off right now, my colleagues have the presentation, they can share the presentation and continue. So that renders the learners a continuity in case of any disaster that may prevail. So prepare the slides in time and share the slides with your class administrators. Immediately after the lesson, upload the slides as materials. We recommend that for every lesson you have, like the teachers in every lesson, the facilitators have been giving you the materials to aid you to perhaps conceptualize what they are teaching. So we recommend that you also upload slides as materials or any other form of material to the learners via Google Classroom. Now, make use of digital learning aid. Like I did show you at the very beginning of my slide, I have a colleague I work with called Madame Robaina, and Madame Robaina, you can see in her classes, Edify does not give her the paper, but she looks for the paper, she looks for the crayons, she gets the Play-Doh, and learning is fully implemented with very good delivery. So do not just make a presentation that has only words. Though, for instance, for me, I'm making use of text. I am I'm showing images there to help us understand. So this being digital or like electronic, I want to recommend that you embrace or make use of learning aids. You can, if you don't have a live picture, you can use Google to search images. If you can't use Google, get a very practical object and then show the people. For instance, if I wanted to show my learners the Bible, I will share the screen, and after sharing the screen, I will put on I'll take the photo of the Bible and show them, or I will turn my camera on and point the camera at the Bible as they see the object. So learning aids still remain very important in this process. Now, how do we effectively manage Zoom? Mr. Mukarere Rogers and Comrade Dumba took us how to use Zoom, and everyone here has been testing, have been trying out Zoom. But then from the experience or perspective, from the practical view, I would recommend that you start the classes earlier. Now, the starting classes earlier will allow you to test your gadgets, and the admin, you can activate a waiting button to allow participants wait in a waiting room as you test the gadgets. We shall demonstrate this later on. Now, I also recommend that, like they said, you mute all participants and unmute one at a time. I recommend that actually during lessons, you record and live stream ongoing lessons. Now, live streaming gives you an opportunity to upload the lessons as they go on YouTube. But also it gives you an opportunity to allow the participants who have network issues to go directly to YouTube and watch. I am rushing because I have very few minutes. I will be concluding shortly. Now, in continuation, I have also recommended we join in with 2 gadgets. Why? At times you may go off. For me, with Madame Robaina, the colleague I work with, we joined in with at least 2 gadgets. I joined in with the computer and then a laptop. Even right now, if you check, I'm appearing thrice. Ogisha Dance, Ogisha Dance. Now, in case power goes off, my computer went off, I will have the phone to continue with the lesson. In case of any challenge, I have continuity. And then hide participants' profile pictures. At times, participants lose concentration as they look at pictures. Disable their videos unless otherwise, if you are interested in looking at them or showing or seeing their work, and then recommend the participants to join with the correct name. Now, even amongst you participants who are joining with what? With funny names, Infinix, smartphone, and so on. So recommend with practice. Now, as we conclude, I want us to look at Google Classroom and videos and YouTube. I'll be demonstrating. For YouTube, as Christian School Owners Association or as implementers of Christian School Owners Association, we created a channel. You can see our channel is called Christian School Owners Association Uganda. And the very first tip, if you can see in our presentation, I've recommended you create playlists. If you're going to share videos with your class, Imagine learners going to YouTube and videos are crowded everywhere. How can they identify the video in the shortest period of time? So the key strategy here is to create playlists, label the videos correctly. If I can just show you, for instance, here, this is our channel. And if I click on playlist, there are very many different categories. I can show. I have nursery videos. I have senior 5, senior 4, senior 3, senior 2, and senior 1. So if a learner clicks on senior 1, for instance, rather clicks on nursery, they will have all the videos of nursery play. I don't want this to play because perhaps I'll distract you and I'll be taking very longer. So label videos correctly. When you are streaming videos, make sure you include the teacher's name, include the topic, and include the class to allow videos to be identified correctly as they were broadband or broadcasted. And after you have labeled the videos correctly and the stream has ended, like said earlier, share the links to WhatsApp group for learners. Now, there are some other tools you need for assessment. This is very, very, very key. In the evening, I'll be sharing with you how you can integrate payment in your learning management system. Since we said parents can support the program by paying some money, how can you then like filter those who have paid and those who have not paid? That will, I'll take 15 to 20 minutes to share with you some experience on how you can do that. But after you have taught the tools you use for assessment, I will not go in details here. We use a Google form. Colleagues shared with us how to get Google form. You may use a Google Doc and you may use Google Classroom.
And Mr. Ogisha, on that page of assessment of Google form, if I go back there, we are going to actually create also to assess our teachers here with a final exam, which is going to be in form of a quiz. It's going to be on Google where you just fill in. It's not like these other assignments you have been doing. So for your assessment for this today's session, we are going to create an assignment which is going to have questions on all the things we have taught from the day 1 up to the last day. And we put in objectives and they just choose the right answers. And then we see how many, whether they are going to get D1s or they are going to get F9s. And we shall be using Google Forms on Google Classroom. You can proceed.
Thank you, thank you. Now, I want to conclude in the interest of time. I'm looking at 7 minutes to 9. I would share very much more, but in this 1 hour, we always interest you and we keep interacting in the WhatsApp group. Now, finally, how can we successfully launch e-learning? How, having said about all those items, how can we now integrate each and everything together? What is that a complete process? So the very initial step, of course, you need to make a budget. I'll be sharing with you what to include in that budget shortly. 2, garbage in, garbage out is a term we use in computer or in technology to really mean that what you feed in the system is what comes out. Very many teachers and other stakeholders are not yet very digitally competent. So if you think about e-learning, consider organizing induction, like training your teacher, just as we are doing right now, sharing knowledge with you. You also have to, as a school director or as a school head, consider inviting some people to take you through this, to equip the teachers with skills on using various technologies. Now, since parents and learners are also part of the audience, an effectual way, the very initial effectual of communicating to them is by organizing a general assembly, a virtual general assembly. It can be an invite. Since you have them already on WhatsApp, you invite them via Zoom. You're using that as LMS, Learning Management System, or you're using Google Meet and so on. You need to invite them, induct them, inform them of how you are going to teach them, what technology they are using, and how they are going to write assessment. And then maybe you notify them about the rules, just as in a physical school, there are rules and regulation. Here also in the virtual school, you need to stipulate clearly about the do's and the don'ts. But this is in assemblies and in classes. Number 4, you need to create Google classes for every level, because you already know the purpose and how to use them. Now, you need to create groups as the 5th thing. And 6, you need to provide data in time. Now, just as you buy pieces of chalk and other scholastic materials prior to effective implementation of lesson in a physical school, data is a very big component, and given in time will allow teachers to research and make preparation effectively. You need to create a YouTube channel, but after creating, you create playlists, and after that, you like customize it fully. In the process, refer to the guide that Mr. Ogbal took us through. You need to create a timetable. Now, creating a timetable usually depends on the Zoom licenses you have. How many licenses do you have, and how many classes are you engaging? Those are some of the factors you take into consideration when you're creating a timetable. However, like I said, if you're making a budget, since this is just something we are sharing with you, you need to at least benchmark these items. Among them, in your budget, include the license. Now, if you recall, yesterday in our presentation, we are guided. If you open your browser and then type www.zoom.us, or you just write in Google Zoom, you'll have this page of pricing. I already opened it, but you can also open it by just typing Zoom in Google and clicking on pricing. So the very account you are using right now is basic, is free of charge, but you may have to think about the pro and other license types for you to take. If you consider buying, please, you can buy directly by looking at partners, like we guided yesterday. At the bottom in the footer section, there are partners. In your partners, you click on partners and get more information about that. However, in the interest of time, like I did say, we have a competent colleague. I can just show you something here. Mr. Mukadele Rogers has been for long been guiding us in getting those Zoom licenses. I want you to consider him as a resourceful person for anything concerning Zoom and its implementation. If not, any other person can be of great help. Mr. Charles Njala here has been coordinating lessons as those in e-classes. You can consider contacting him. I'll summarize this page in just 1 minute. So Zoom licenses are very important because they will give you other extra features like live streaming, managing several participants, and other tools that are not in the free or the basic type of license one you're using. Then the other component included in your budget is the weekly or monthly data. Do you consider giving teachers data weekly, or you give them monthly plan with your school colleagues? Now, like we receive salary at the end of the month after we have taught, you need to also plan how to facilitate the teachers. Are you paying them weekly? Are you paying them monthly? What is their cost? Think about that. Now, the other miscellaneous cost I didn't add here, like the bulk SMS for communication, buying scholastic materials, maybe whiteboards and what should you need them, constructing a website, among others. You can make use of them. Now, last but not least, how would you sustain the program? Starting is always easy, but then there's one big challenge with sustenance or sustainability. We propose that you sensitize parents to support the program. Yeah, they may pay some money weekly. Their schools charging 30, 50 a week, 100. So think about a cost that suits your parents, since the fees differ even in the normal school setting. Now, source for partners, you can consult us for information about the reliable partners you can use. Now, you can also make some materials like workbooks, DVDs. Since you are recording videos, you can sell DVDs, physical DVDs at a cost, or you can set some exams at the end of the program to charge some cost. I am very, very knowledgeable that we could not complete everything. I will be there in the WhatsApp group interacting with you. And I would also promise you that I am going to guide you in the evening on how we can integrate payments in the Zoom setting. Yeah, if you consider charging the parents, how then are you going to implement that? I'll be sharing some tips at the end of the evening. Last but not least, I want to thank you. You have been very good people. You have at least sacrificed your data, your time. This has been very good. I hope at least this engagement has given you several skills. I want to give you an assignment that you'll be doing. And this assignment, you're going to get it in your classroom, but I'll be marking it throughout the week. And to give an highlight in this assignment, you're going to create a summary. You're going to create a 5-slide presentation summarizing summarizing the steps for implementing e-learning classes. We're going to create a 5-slide presentation summarizing the e-class, summarizing the process of starting e-classes. Number 2, you'll have to collaborate with your friends like you've been doing. You share in the WhatsApp group invitation links for a class meeting, and then you teach them. You teach that slide via Zoom. You take the screenshot as you're teaching the participants and upload the presentation together with the screenshots of what you have been doing, or the images that you've been doing in the Zoom classes. I want us to try this as the process of implementing. You'll check your classroom at the end of this as you write that assignment. Thank you very much. Our training was made possible, was really catered or provided or given to us by 3 associations funded by Edify Uganda, organized by Christian School Owners Association, and implemented by IC Teachers Association Uganda. You can visit those websites using these URLs to read more about these partners. Thank you very much. I've been Ogisha Dens, and till we meet again, I think I should end here.
Mr. Ogisha?
Yes, please.
Hey, you can actually leave that slide still showing, the last one.
Okay.
So members, I think Mr. Ogisha has summarized it very well. We don't even need to add on anything. All I want to request members is to please register. There is a link posted in the chat. You click on it, and then you register and give us your feedback about the training, about today's session and the entire training. If you have more questions, we shall be attending to some of that feedback in the evening. Well, we are also going to be getting, I know our training has been, we may organize one extra session because we also want to hear from you teachers. We want to hear your testimonies. What have you learned from this session? We want to hear from you to share with us. So we have an evening session, but we may organize one more extra session to wrap up. We are going to be giving certificates to all the teachers who have done their assignments, and we are going to give you one extra week up to next Thursday next week to do the assignment. So there's no excuse for someone to say, for me, I missed day 1. So no, we are giving you an extra week to do the assignment. So the facilitators are still, so don't say they didn't mark me. We are still marking for the next week up to Thursday next week. So certificates are going to be given on Thursday next week. I think that is even when we should even have the closing ceremony. We shall have a closing ceremony where we shall issue certificates. So I think that is going to be better. So let us have the evening session, then we shall have another closing ceremony, graduation day, which we shall even issue certificates, and that will be Thursday next week, after a whole week for you to do all the assignments. So we don't have any excuse that for me I didn't. Even if you have not done any assignments, you can start today. They are very cheap assignments. People have been doing them in 10 minutes. Do the presentation, do the video, do the Google Classroom, do the YouTube channel, and you'll be done. install the Zoom and do a test class, and that's all. These assignments which we have given in the whole week, you can even do them in one day. They are very cheap assignments which you can do in 5 minutes each. So let us try to do these assignments, and we have an extra week. In the evening, come back and we wrap up with the tips. We also want to hear from the teachers. We want to invite some of the teachers. We already have some teachers who had joined us, like Mr. Sendega, Fred, and others, but we shall get them in the evening to also share with us some of their experiences. Then we shall wait for the graduation day, which is going to be next week. At this time, I want us to get a closing prayer from one of the member here, and then we close. We thank our partners who have sponsored this event. Let us get a closing prayer from Gilbert.
Let us humble ourselves and pray. Father, we thank you for this other day. We thank you for this training. We thank you for our facilitators, and we thank you for all those who have attended this training. May this training, God, yield good fruits of e-learning. May you give us more knowledge, more wisdom, more understanding to really explore beyond our limits. And Lord, by the intercession of Saint Michael, we dare to say, Saint Michael, the Archangel, defend us in this battle. Be our defense against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and O Prince of Heaven and host, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world seeking the reign of souls. Amen. Stay safe. Good day.